What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Creativ Rise podcast. Today, we are talking about the idea of quitting your job, when to quit your job. Maybe it's an idea for you right now and you want it to actually be your reality. We're talking about that today. We have a formula for it, and we're super excited to share with you this formula. It's the same formula that's helped so many people. Probably over 100 people that we've gotten to get our hands in their businesses, even just in the last couple of years. Over 100 people quit their jobs, even a couple this past couple weeks. Tanya, Brigida, Sam, a couple of people in the past 2.5 weeks that have quit their jobs. And we always say at Creativ Rise, we love quitters.
We love a quitter.
We love a quitter. A quitter for the right reasons.
It's a
really big deal to
quit your job
and go all in on yourself, go all in on your dream. So you've got an amazing story about this, about yourself. Yeah. Excited to share that. We're just glad you are here. If you're new to the show, my name is Joey. This is Christy. And yes, this is my wife. Yes, this is her husband. And we're also business partners. She, in 2015, started a wedding photography business. I, in 2014, started a brand content agency working in the commercial space, in the brand space. And over the years, you started to add brands into your portfolio. Mm-hmm. Christy's one of the very, very few people that I know that's very successfully built a six-figure business in the wedding space, and then also at the same time built a six-figure business in the brand space, which is very impressive. I have not done that.
Well, thank you.
I have not built a six-figure wedding business myself. But we're kind of coming at this podcast, and we come at everything at here at Creativ Rise from those two angles, understanding everything on the brand and commercial side, and then also the weddings, couples, families, portrait side, which is cool. But we started Creativ Rise back in 2019 with one goal: to help creatives just like you and just like us learn how to actually quit our jobs, go all in on working for ourselves by understanding the fundamentals of running a creative business, the business side, right? And really understanding that. So our goal is that the show would just give you a ton of encouragement, tactical skills, and really, really good tools and tips for you to actually do the same thing and learn from our stories and learn from a ton of other people's stories that we bring on. I'm glad you're here.
Yeah.
This is going to be a fun episode to talk about all of the ways that you need to think before you should probably quit your job, when it is the right time, how to know you've got the right strategy set up, and just some things to think about. So glad you're here.
But before we jump in, we wanted to quickly shout out some awesome wins from this last week of the Mastermind. We are in our 6-week Creativ Rise Mastermind, which is our 6-week program where we're leading over 30 creatives through a 6-week process to basically overhaul your business and build a six-figure foundation. So we have some really awesome wins from week 5 that we're going to shout out.
Tell everybody what week 5 is about.
Week 5 was all about scaling. So scaling your income, scaling your socials. How do we scale our business up in a really healthy, consistent way so that you can continue to build in some really awesome
A lot
ways.
of week 5 is talking about getting tactical on how do you be not a reactive business, but actually a proactive business. So instead of just waiting for stuff to come to you, you can never scale a business by waiting. You've actually got to go out and build the right footing so you can actually take the right steps, which is cool. So anyways, we talked about that this week. There's been a lot of amazing wins this week. I'm going to shout out a few. Shout out to Laura and Brian, all the way from Texas. They are running a content agency down there, and they are a killer team. They just rang the bell today and said, ringing the bell for our 3rd official retainer client. They came into the mastermind with no retainer clients, and their goal was to get retainer clients. They're really good at getting one-off work, but they really wanted to get retainer clients. Ringing the bell on our 3rd ever official retainer client. It's an interior designer that we had previously done a shoot for, and in that shoot, we delivered polished clips for a social media girl to work with. I talked to her about our new retainer packages, so she pitched them. She's being proactive. And she went for them. So she says, we just sold her our highest retainer and the 3-pin posts. The retainer's 8 reels, 4 short clips, 15 images a month for $3,500. The 3-pin posts is $3,500. So just for this month, it's going to be $7,000. But then every month going after that, it's $3,500. And here's the best part. She said, and in July, we're taking over her social media accounts for $4,750. Guys, that's $55,000 a year if they stay on with this client at $4,750 per month, which is incredible. And here's the best part. Ready? Right after that, Brian, her partner jumps on in here and says, hey, ring the bell. We officially locked in another $3,500 per month retainer with a luxury builder.
Woo-hoo.
Deliverables, 8 reels per month, 4 short form clips, and 15 edited images, about 2 hours of on-site filming per month. That's killer. So shout out to Brian and Laura. You guys are killing it. Yeah. Cannot wait to tell the more of that story on the podcast because it's amazing. Shout out to Andrew all the way from Tasmania. Andrew, killing it, dude. Andrew's work is so good. He just said, just locked in a $3,500 deal. Lots of $3,500 deals going on this week. Awesome. $3,500 deals for 8 reels and 10 photos for this brand. The owner seems super in need for constant content. So I'm also going to pitch this as a retainer as soon as the shoot is done, which is amazing. Shout out to Brandon. Brandon just quit his job. Dude, shout out to Brandon Greenwald. He just quit his job last week. So on the topic of quitters, Brandon, shout out to you.
Yeah.
Brandon had a $1,250 retainer signed this month to help run some ads and do some creative and run some newsletter stuff, which is amazing. Brandon, shout out to you, man. That's awesome. Angelique just confirmed a $2,750 one-off project shooting 6 module videos for a mental health therapist. That's awesome. Shout out to Angelique. Morgan Jewell had 2 wins. She said 1 win. Win number 1 is $1,750 for a real estate agent for 10 videos, 10 photos. Win number 2 is $1,500 for a real estate agent for 6 videos and 6 photos and a little bit of ad setup. She goes, this is actually my grandma. I gave her a discount. That's so awesome. And she goes, encouragement to keep putting yourself out there and your business out into the world. Take up space and share how you can help people. Absolutely. Michael, shout out to you, Michael. I said, quick bell ring over here. Just locked down another $1,250 on a health and lifestyle individual. So someone who's like I think it's some type of a fitness person. But he says brings my April income to $3,800 already, and this was like only halfway through the month, which is amazing. So Michael, shout out to you. And then Tammy, few wins, 2 one-off projects, each at $2,500. Wrapped up 4 projects a week and have $14,000 come on in. I've been pitching retainers and set up 2 calls this week, which is amazing. And this one last one with Angelique. She's got another retainer signed for $2,250 for 6 months for social media management. Guys, there's so many good wins this week. So jacked up for everybody that's in the mastermind. If you're sitting there going, man, I want wins like that. I want to know what those guys know. I want to be in the community, get the momentum that they're feeling, and get the support specifically from Christy and I in your business. Then you got to sign up for the waitlist for the next one. So round 14 is coming in the fall. Go to creativrise.com right now, and you can sign up for the waitlist there, which is really cool. And you also get a free course when you sign up for the waitlist that you can start taking action on now, which is a sales call formula course, which is really cool. So you'll get better at sales calls in the process while you wait on the waitlist. But guys, we are here to talk about quitting your job.
Yes,
so many people have quit their jobs recently in the mastermind and just in the greater Creativ Rise community. And some of you guys have even just messaged us and said, hey, quitting my job. Like, thanks so much for everything you guys do on the podcast. And we're like, thank you for telling us you're quitting your job.
Yes,
we love to hear that. To hear that. So the question is, should I quit my job, Christy? Mm-hmm. And when do I know it's the right time, right? Yeah. And this is something that this is really the start of your business was all about this question right here.
Oh, yeah.
And you had to decide, is quitting a job a logical thing or is it an emotional thing?
Yeah.
Because there's probably a lot of both of those things wrapped up into the idea of quitting your job, but which one should you listen to more?
Yeah. I mean, I think you have to listen to both. I think that it's more so a logistical thing than it is an emotional thing. We
think it's wiser to make it a logistical thing.
It is wiser to make it a logistical thing, which is why we're actually going to give you like a little formula to know if you're ready to quit your job or not. But we want to urge you to not make an emotional decision on it. We see people all the time make an emotional decision. They're like, I just hate my job, right? I just want out of that. I hate my job. But then they jump in and they're actually not ready, but they're not actually ready and prepared. And so then they end up freaking out, having to go back. And there's nothing worse than having to do that. So I'm glad you're here. If you've got another job right now that you got a 9 to 5 and you're wanting to go full time in your creative career,
part-time job,
whatever it is, and you're wanting to go full time, I'm glad you're here because this is hopefully going to give you some logic to something that feels often like an emotional decision. So Joey started his business when he was super young. So you never really had one of those like big, like quit your job moments.
No, I applied for a job. I applied at McDonald's when I was 15. I'd already started my business. I started my business when I was 14.
My favorite story.
I applied at McDonald's when I was 15 because I felt left out because all my friends were working at McDonald's and they didn't even ask me in for an interview. And I was like, I'm so hurt by this. I will never apply for another job again. And I've never worked for anybody since.
Never worked for anybody since.
Yeah, but McDonald's, I've just still got this dagger in my back. I need you.
Mickey D's, man.
Yeah, I probably need to go to therapy.
Probably.
Figure that out. But
so I have the opposite story. So I once I left college, I was like, okay, I got student loan payments I got to make. I got bills, all that type of stuff. So I went out and actually got 3 jobs. So I had 3 jobs at the time that I was trying to hold while making student payments, all that kind of stuff. And I remember being like, oh, this isn't really what I imagined like my post-college life feeling like. But I was working these 3 jobs, trying to do this. And then I was like, you know what? I really want to get into photography. Like that's something that I'm really excited about, building this wedding business. And I remember being like, well, shoot, how do I know when to leave the other jobs? Because the other jobs felt very quote unquote secure. And I say quote unquote secure because at the time it felt secure. Okay, I'm getting paid every single month from this company and it's going to come on this exact date. And I'm jumping into weddings, which any creative business, oftentimes it feels like maybe there's high feast and famine. Like some months are going to be good and some months are going to be bad. What if I don't have enough money to be able to make my student loan payments? Blah, 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 blah. And I realized I was putting so much security in these 3 jobs that were not paying very well. That's hence why I needed to have 3 jobs. And I had this other business that was starting to grow. Now, having 4 businesses is not the best thing in the whole world to do. And ultimately, if I would have kept those 3 jobs, I wouldn't have been able to grow my business. I wouldn't have been able to build a 6-figure wedding business or then go on and do brand stuff. Like I would have capped myself if I would have stayed in the security of these other jobs. And so if you're sitting here going, I don't really want to let go of my 9 to 5. I don't really want to let go of these little side things that I'm doing because it feels secure. I kind of want to burst your bubble just a little bit in that those other jobs are not actually that secure, right? It's kind of a myth that these other jobs are really secure because ultimately you could get fired at any point. They could end the business. They could close down. They could move away. They could do whatever. And your job could be gone in a second. And you have no control over that. Whereas if you've got your own business, you got a whole lot more control. And so I was able to jump into being full-time in my business within the first year that I started it. So I put all cylinders on this business and was like, my goal is to like leave these other jobs. I want to go full-time in my business. And I was able to do that in a year. So if you're also thinking like, oh, it's going to take me 5 years to be able to leave my job.
No.
If you've got the right tools, systems, and like listen to these things, these checklist things in this podcast, you may be able to leave a lot quicker than you think.
Yeah, I mean, the pattern that we see is if you do the things we're going to talk about, it's probably not even a year timeline. It might be something that's more like a couple months of a timeline. So
100%. But we want to start off with just quick 3 mistakes to avoid. Before we get into the here's what you can do to give you the green light, here are the mistakes that we often see creatives making when trying to quit their job and go full time in their business.
Yeah.
And mistake number 1 is not having a sales system.
Or a lead gen system. You're not having a system that actually brings people to you. You're very reactive. So this often goes like, oh, you start your business, you make the Facebook post, you make the Instagram post.
And some of your friends or your mom or whoever
you might get a couple clients month 1, you might get a little bit of clients month 2, you're feeling good about it. And the reality is after a couple months, you've kind of tapped your audience, your network, like your close proximity, the people in your community for work. Yeah. And so the challenge then becomes people hit this downward slope where they're like, wait, I started this thing and it felt like it was like really going well. And now it feels like it's not. What do I do? Well, you need a lead generation system. You need a system to get you, your business, and what you do to help people out in front of people, right? Yeah. If you don't have that, then you're going to struggle and it's going to be really, really tough because you cannot go full time. I barely know of anyone that's ever gone full time in any business model where it's 100% relying on referrals right off the bat. Like referrals might be your first couple deals.
Lasts for maybe 6 months.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's important to think about mistake number 1 is people quit without knowing how to get and earn business. It's a scary place to be. If you do not know how to generate somebody who now is interested in you to help them, whether you're a photographer, whether you're a filmmaker, a designer, a social media strategist, or pro or manager, like you've got to know before you quit your job, how do I go out, put in an input, put in a couple inputs, and then I get to see somebody come in and say, hey, I want to work with you. You got to figure that out before you quit your job because that is the most important thing. Second, you lose that skill in business, you're going, right? So very important.
Mistake number 2 is just quitting out of emotion rather than logic. It's just we want you to make this decision based off of logic, not just because you hate your job, right? Pay attention to the emotion, but make the decision based off of logic. And then lastly, number 3.
It's a big one.
Thinking more time equals success. So this is for people who do not quit their jobs soon enough, thinking that, oh, if I just wait longer, if I just kind of draw it out, maybe I'll get more success, without actually putting that much specific time and energy and effort into your business, and just hoping that more time is going to make your business successful. Doesn't always work like that. No. You sometimes need that individualized time of actually focusing on the business, actually learning the things that you need to learn in order to create a healthy and sustainable business, being able to do that rather than just relying on, time.
Well, and the truth is you can't wait around for you to understand how to build a lead generation system or how to build good offers that people actually want to buy, right? Yeah. How to sell people. You don't acquire those skills waiting around. You acquire those skills by jumping in fully into the deep end and learning and figuring it out, right? Yeah. So more time does not equal better preparation a lot of the time.
Exactly.
Which is crucial. So this is now we're getting into a little bit of the logistical part. So this is where Christy said it's not necessarily best to make this an emotional decision. We should make it a logical one, right? So how do we make it a logical one? Well, the first thing we want to say is you are ready to go full time. You are just ready if you have already saved up a little bit of a nest egg. Okay. Now we want you to have a little bit of a nest egg, a safety net, because anytime you make any decision financially to switch anything, whether it's going from a career to going to self-employment, whether it's going from half self-employment, half working a part-time job, it's important that you consider what does it look like to have at least like at minimum like 2 to 4 months of living expenses and potentially business expenses tied into some type of a safety net account, so that you actually have a little bit of a cushion. So when you make the jump and you fall, because you're going to fall, you're going to have some failures in the first couple months. We are both a decade into this and we still have failures. You're going to fail. That's inevitable, right? It's important that you have aspects of financial security, even if it's just like a couple months, so you can really keep your head down and really keep working hard, rather than having to stress like crazy because you aren't going to make your rent or your mortgage that month. So
that's great.
That's important. Like 2 to 4 months minimum is what we say. If you can get it up to 3 to 6, it's way better.
Yes. And then green flag or green light to you if you want to leave your job and feeling like, oh, this is a great logical decision. Number 2 is that it's costing you more to stay at your job than it is to leave. It's costing you more to stay, meaning you're making less money in your job than you would be if you were actually able to give the time and attention to your business, right? And this is if you've already kind of gotten to the spot where you're like, I know what I do makes money, I know how it solves a problem, which is going to be a little bit in the next point, but you know what you do works, and you staying at your full-time job is hindering and capping your current income in your business. So let's say you're making like $3,500 a month in your 9 to 5, and right now you may be only making like $2,000 a month in your business, but you deep down know if you had more time in your business, you could bump that up to $5,000 a month or $6,000 a month, $7,000, $8,000, whatever it is. You know that it could work if you could multiply that. Then you should leave your job, right? Yeah. Like if you're like, I know I could do that, and you could actually shift over, then it's obviously a no-brainer that you should. And maybe the reason your business is not up to the same amount you're making in your 9 to 5 is not because it doesn't work, it's just that you don't have the time to put into it. And so you want to make sure you pay attention to that.
Yeah, a great example of this is Madison Tremblay. She's been on the podcast before. She's a social media manager, and she quit her job. She knew it was the right time to quit her job because she was making couple $1,000s in her job a month, and she was like, whoa, if I got 2 clients, I could fully replace my income for the month. And when she figured that out and she realized it was costing her more to stay in her job than it was to leave her job, she left her job and she started stacking clients immediately. And a lot of you guys have already heard the story, but she built a 6-figure run rate business, meaning she was doing over $8,333 per month in retainers. She did that in less than a month and a half. So she built a 6-figure business foundation in less than a month and a half because she decided, I'm going to realize that I'm going to stop playing my job as secure card. I'm going to realize that this is actually massively holding me back in terms of my time, and it's costing me what I could be going out and getting in terms of new business. So she made that jump, and she's killing it.
And she's crushing it.
Killing it, which is really cool. So if you're wondering what that looks like, well, you should probably go to creativrise.com, go to our pricing calculator. So creativrise.com/pricing calculator, totally free. put in your income goal, figure out what that would look like month to month, figure out what that would look like in terms of how many jobs you think that would be, and then ask yourself, if I wasn't working at my job, or if I had an extra 20 hours this week or an extra 40 hours this month because I'm working on this part-time job, if I could fully dedicate that to my business, would I see a lot more come in? Also, would I be happier? Would I enjoy it more? Would I be more fulfilled? And if the answer to that is yes, then it might be time to say, I need to do it scared and maybe make a little bit of a jump into this, right? So just something to think about. Yeah. But when you realize that the opportunity cost of staying in your job is costing you more money than if you jumped over the fear and actually went for it full time in your own business, it's a great, great, great time to leave.
Absolutely. And then number 3 is that you have a solidified offer that you know works. This is something that I see people do a lot, is they will jump into photography because they've done the thing. They've posted on Facebook, they've done this, and then they're like, hey, I have a camera, like come get a video from me, or I'll do any type of portrait you could ever think of. And their family and friends start paying them to do these things. And so they jump out and they're like, you know what, I'm gonna go full time. Like this last month was awesome, or these few months have been great. I've been doing all these different types of jobs, and they jump into going full time only to be known as the jack of all trades, which jack of all trades at the beginning is fine when you're trying to figure out what you want to be doing and figuring out what works and what type of problems you can solve. But if you stay a jack of all trades where you're just kind of the person that does anything, that's a really reactive style of business. And that is a recipe for not having consistent high income. That's one of the biggest mistakes we see creatives make, is that they become the jack of all trades rather than becoming a specialist. It doesn't mean that you need to niche down to a super specific type of client or anything like that, but niche to a problem, niche to something that you know you can solve. Whether it's like, hey, I want to go into social media management, or I know that I can create organic content for brands that's going to crush, and I deliver their monthly content and I jump on retainer with them. Or maybe you're a wedding photographer. You got to figure out, what is the thing that I am really good at, and I go out and sell that. You build an offer that's very clear and that you know that works. Doesn't mean you can't shift things, customize things for clients, but you have an offer that you know works, that you can go out and be proactive and sell. Okay, so number 3 is having a solidified offer that you know works and that you're super, super clear on. If you've got that and you haven't even made a client, that's a way better spot to be in than being the jack of all trades. Just come and hire me for whatever you want. It's a really reactive state. We want you to push into a proactive.
Yeah, and the truth is, you can do any job that comes to you in the beginning, right? Because the whole goal in the beginning is like, get as much money as possible so I can just like get financial stability, right? So you can do all that, but from a brand perspective, you should sort of, our encouragement to you, like sort of start to declare who you are going to be as a creative. Like, what do you want to be known for?
Way more success.
What problems do you want to be known to solve? Oh, that's Joey. He's so good at helping brands with short form video. Or that's Christy. She's so good at making anybody in front of her camera feel super comfortable. So wedding photos, couples, everyone they're so good to hire her, right? Like, what are you going to be known for, and really build your brand around that? Doesn't mean that you're not going to take up some random other job. If it comes to you with your camera, you might want to take that in the beginning, but you don't necessarily want to just market yourself as a jack of all trades, master of none. Masters of none do not build solid 6-figure businesses quickly. People that, like Madison, we'll go back to Madison's example. Madison was like, I'm going to be doing the social media management thing. I'm making these packages and I'm going to push them super, super hard. Here's all the benefits. Here's really the thing. When you don't know how to build a clear offer in the beginning, you can't do the next thing, which is the last thing right here, which is, in order to quit your job, immediately the first thing you should be thinking about when it comes to quitting my job is, where am I getting business from? In order to quit your job, you need to learn how to go out and get business, get people to come to you and want to work with you, right? This is called lead generation. This is something that Madison did super well when she first quit her job, because she clarified exactly what she wanted to do. She made a clear offer, built 2 or 3 packages for that offer. Because she did that, she went hard with her marketing. She went crazy with her marketing. She posted for the first 30 days of her business. She posted every single day, Monday through Friday, a new video talking about social media management, why you need a social media manager, the benefits of it for your business, how much time it's going to save you, right? You are not able to market your business very clearly when you don't have a clearly defined specific offer. If you are a master of everything, you can do anything under the sun, it's really hard to market yourself, right? And specialize in anything, get known for anything. So the last thing you really want to focus on is dial in an offer so that you can get really, really clear and run really fast in the direction of marketing and lead generation. Because if you can do that, you can control the lead generation, the lead flow, the amount of people coming to you wanting to work with you. And there is no better feeling than when you're like, wow, I have more people that want to work with me than I think I have capacity for right now. And that barely ever happens, and it definitely doesn't happen on a continuous timeline and consistently when you are a reactive model of business, which is, I'll just see what comes in this month.
Right.
It's way better to be proactive about, I'm going to build this offer, I'm going to build a lead generation system or a marketing plan, and I'm going to go hard in that direction and run really fast towards it.
Yeah.
Those are the keys, guys, in order to actually figure out if it is the right time for you to quit your job. So just to recap real quick, you've got to have some type of a financial nest egg saved up. It doesn't have to be 12 months. It could be something as low as 2 to 4 months of living and assumed business expenses saved up in an account. So you know, okay, I've at least got a couple months of leg room here. If things feel a little bit rocky in the first couple of months, which they will, at least I know I have a little bit of financial security right here. So you need that right off the bat. Then you have to dial in, what are the offers I want to run with? How do I clarify them so that I can actually become known for something? Because the people that scale their businesses the fastest are the ones that get known for something. They're known for solving a problem, known for helping a business create opportunity, known for saving a business owner time, known for helping a business sell more of a product, known for doing the best wedding photos that a brides could ever think of, or like the best experience, whatever that's going to be. And then because they're known for those things, they can go out and create a really, really good lead generation plan, really good marketing efforts, and go hard on that. So that is kind of the formula. That is the formula that we encourage people to do. That's the formula you used yourself. That is the formula that we see people in our Creativ Rise community quit their jobs with almost on a weekly, bi-weekly basis. We have somebody shouting us out, being like, hey, I just quit, which is amazing. So
yeah, it's so cool.
Yeah, we love that.
So if you feel like, hey, I'm itching to do this, or I feel like I'm close to doing that, we want to cheer you on. Keep listening to the podcast. Keep making the changes to the business that you need to be making. Educate yourself. Get excited about what your future could look like with quitting your job. It's a really cool place to be. We also realize it's a scary place to be. It's hard to sometimes quit your job and feel like you're just jumping into isolation, which is literally why we built the 6-week Creativ Rise Mastermind, to not only give you the education, the tools, the access to us, all of that kind of stuff, but also access to a whole community of people who are doing it as well. It's so much better to quit when you've got a crowd of creatives who are also doing the same thing right behind you. And that's what we've been seeing the last 6 weeks, is people jumping in, quitting their job, everyone freaking out in the community, cheering them on, encouraging them, offering them support. It is so, so cool. So if you are someone who wants something like that, our next 6-week Creativ Rise Mastermind is coming this fall. So maybe that's a goal for you. Maybe it's like, hey, I'm going to take the summer to save up in order to quit my job, get that nest egg, start dialing in some of these offers, and you want to jump into the 6-week Creativ Rise Mastermind in order to quit your job by the end of it. That would be a great goal for you. So if you are someone
and no better place to do that than a community surrounded by people and led by people that know how to help you do that.
Exactly. So if you want to jump on the wait list for that, because it sells out every single time, all you gotta do is go to creativrise.com. There's waitlist buttons everywhere. You get access to a free course as soon as you sign up. It's totally free to sign up. It's a no commitment thing. Just jumping on the waitlist to get more information. So if you want in on that, creativrise.com, or it's in the show notes. Go ahead and click it below.
Yeah, guys, we will catch you up to speed on the amazing wins from week 6 of the Mastermind, which we just started, next week on the podcast. Got some really fun podcast episodes coming up soon, so get excited about those. Some really, really fun guests. And we will catch you guys next week. If you have a friend who also needs to quit their job, send this episode to them so they can be encouraged. We'll catch you guys next week.